Hiya. Thanks for joining us again. We've had a couple of weeks off actually, so it's nice to be back. A wee reminder, I'm Marion, I'm a Thurso Community Development Trust board member. We're joined again by Joan Laurie, who is our Thurso Development Manager. So we've got a couple of things to run through for you guys this week. We have an exciting announcement, but we're going to keep it to the end so that you have to watch the whole thing. So very quickly, we'll go over the community support that we are still offering and will be offering until at least the end of September. Joan, can you give us a quick update and roundup of what's going on with community support?
Okay, so we're much quieter now. Lots of people out and about getting their independence again. Some people that are just needing their confidence supported a little bit. And a few people that we're we'll need to give some ongoing support to as well. And we're still doing meals. So we're down to 3 days a week now. And we've got a kind of core group of volunteers that have stayed with us, and they are all superstars who are still going out delivering meals, doing bits of shopping, still collecting prescriptions and things like that. But we're kind of working on not quite completely bringing things to a close by the end of September, but certainly a much kind of reduced sort of service. But we're also kind of working on plans to have something in place. I think one of the things that we really have recognised is that some of the people who we've supported, we've not really supported them for COVID reasons. It's more COVID has been a bit of a godsend to them because there was something that was temporarily going on in their life at the same time, maybe with a mobility issue, something like that, where actually having somebody to call on to just run that errand for them has been a bit of a lifeline. And we're always going to have people that need that in the community, and we want to be a kind, caring, compassionate community. So yeah, we're going to kind of work on something that's a bit different to what we have been doing, but that is a kind of permanent sort of service.
Yeah, it sounds good. Almost like formalising a helpful service for people that need it, I guess. Because if it's not coronavirus, it's something else. There's always something that gets in people's way, and a helping hand is always handy to have. So that's community support. We have an event, my goodness me, on Sunday of this week. So that is Sunday the 6th. Oh my god, I was like, it can't be. The 6th of September. Joan, can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
So as you know, when we looked for kind of well-being things for people, we got lots of donations of books and jigsaws and craft things and things like that, and a lot of them have been really well used and have gone out to places, but we do have some things that are left over. The youth club also has, if you don't know already, we work very closely with Thurso Youth Club. In fact, we've got our office in the building. So the youth club have been having a bit of a clear out too, and they've got some sports equipment that's no longer used. So really, it's difficult for us to find places to store it. So we'd like to get rid of the excess, and it's just come along and pick some stuff up. Social distancing rules apply, and we're complying with all the kind of government guidelines and everything like that, and just kind of leave a donation, like a donation as little as a penny, like whatever, you know, just helps as a little bit of a fundraiser for us, and just spread. I mean, you know, things like the library, I know that they're doing click and collect, but they're maybe not quite open properly yet, and gives people the opportunity to also come along and support us a bit too.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people support us in so many ways, so this is just another opportunity. If you fancy some books, jigsaws, craft things, sports things, all that sorts of stuff, pop on down. What time is it on Sunday, Joan? Remind me.
Can we post that down below? I can't remember. 12 to 3, I think. 12 to 3. 12 to 3.
And afternoon, I'm sure. Carl's going to kill us.
Yeah, definitely afternoon.
So yeah, that's Sunday, the 6th of September, and we will post the details in the Facebook post that goes along with this video. So next up is the sharing shed. We've spoken about it before. It's based at Thurso Youth Club as well, and it is open to anybody and everybody. We've just had our second load of goodies put into the shed. So Joan, can you tell us a bit more about what's available and how to access it and all those sorts of things?
The sharing shed is literally bursting at the seams with stuff at the moment, because we just took 2 pallet loads, I think, from Seafine. We've spoken about Seafine, I think, before, but I'll mention them again. Seafine are a fantastic charity that operate and actually started in the Aberdeen area and do a lot to do with surplus food and getting it to people who need it. There are supermarkets that overorder. There's a lot of surplus food in this country, and there shouldn't be. We shouldn't be throwing food away. Let's roll round maybe another 20, 30 years. Food may be in scarce supply in some areas of the world, and it's awful that we have surplus food. So this is just a way of redistributing surplus food, and that's what Seafine do. They have a contract to deliver that surplus food throughout the Highlands to organisations like us, and that's what the sharing shed is go along and have a look to see what's in it. We, as well as food, we've got toiletries, there's sanitary products, there's all sorts of bits and pieces in there, from cereal to beans to lots of different things. So go along and have a look, and maybe go and try. Some of it is, I'm not going to say odd, but it's maybe not what I would pick initially, but I've actually been trying to work out like new things to have from some of the things, especially like the tins of beans, that are things that I've maybe not used before. So it's an opportunity to try a new recipe and things like that as well. So yeah.
Definitely. And what we should do is, if you take something and you make something delicious, scribble down the recipe and pop it into the shed so we can get it as well.
That would be a really good idea. Really good idea. And just to add as well, the sharing shed, this is just a temporary shed. We are working on having a permanent shed that will also have a fridge and a freezer in it. We actually do have the fridge and freezer already. We just need the all singing and all dancing shed for everything to go into.
And can you remind me, the sharing shed is there, it's an outside space, but we lock it up of an evening, don't we? So can you remind me what kind of times is it open for people to pop in?
It's open from about 10 every morning, so Monday to Friday, and then close usually about 6, 7 o'clock.
Grand. So that's Monday to Friday, basically working hours 10 to 6, 7 p.m. Pop on down and see what's available, and help yourself. That's what it's there for.
Yep.
And help us to stop wasting food. Okay, so next on my list is Connecting Scotland. So Joan's actually had a week off, 1 week, 2 weeks, I can't remember.
10 days off.
10 days. So actually,
10 days.
I'm on the back foot as well. I had to actually ask, remind me what Connecting Scotland's all about. So that's another reason we do these videos for you guys, because it's hard for us to keep up with what's going on in the day to day. So Joan, can you tell us a bit about the Connecting Scotland project and what have we got up for grabs?
So Connecting Scotland is a nationwide programme that is being run. We have funding under the first phase of it. There is a second phase of it, which we may well put an application into yet. But basically it is to ensure that as many people as possible across Scotland get digitally connected. So it's run by SCVO, which is the Scottish Council for Voluntary Organisations. And COVID has obviously highlighted that when in lockdown, not everybody is digitally connected. For lots of us, it is really easy to go on and do an online shop, to go and pay our bills online, to do everything online, to have video calls like what me and Marion basically have now. We've been able to do the Thurso show from the comfort of our own homes week after week. I've been able to participate in lots more meetings and training over lockdown than I normally would be able to, because normally I have to travel to Inverness or further afield, but we can use video calls. not everybody has that luxurious position. Some people don't know how to use digital. They don't have the confidence to use it. For some people, having a device it's a million miles away from what they would be able to afford to have. And for some people, it's just, they've never had to use it. I grew up using a computer and, you know, have worked in IT and things like that as well. Not everybody has done that. So Connecting Scotland is looking to get people connected across Scotland. So we have devices. We have Google Chromebooks and iPads, which are available in the first phase. So these are more specifically for people who are digitally excluded. So if you don't have a device or you don't have broadband. So some people we know might have broadband because lots of people have it for their TVs, but they maybe don't have a laptop or a computer or anything like that. But we are looking specifically in this round for people who are aged either over 70 or who have had to shield due to COVID. I do have a small number of devices that are available just for people who might be experiencing financial hardship, and that's what stops them from being able to get online. What you also get with this is it's either an iPad or a Chromebook, and it's also, there's 12 months of paid internet access through what's called a MiFi device, which is a mobile internet. So it's not broadband, but it's a mobile internet. And you also get the support for 6 months of a digital champion. So like I've done my digital champion training. We've got another member of the staff that's done digital champion training. I've got a couple of volunteers who'll be doing it as well, which means you've got somebody to give a phone to when something's frozen or you don't know how to do this, or if you want somebody to talk you through how to do a Tesco online shop or to pay a bill or how to video call your auntie who lives wherever, you know. So there's lots and lots of support that's available. We'll also be looking at doing some really small workshops, maybe just 2 or 3 people, where you can actually sit down with somebody and under social distancing we'll show you how to do online shopping and get digital confidence. So we have been able to distribute so many of these devices to some of the people that we've been supporting, but we do still have some remaining. So if you are interested in getting a device, or if you have a friend or a family member who may be interested in getting a device, if they can get in contact with me directly, then we can have a chat and see where we go. Also, we might put in for a second round, which has just literally been announced, and it's much wider. It's kind of looking at people who are maybe lone parents and families and things like that, and that are under the age of 25. But I mean, we certainly don't have that yet. But if you do fit into one of those categories, get in touch, because there might be something that I can do later on, and that gives me evidence as well to say I'll need X number of devices.
Yeah. Okay, so that sounds really good. So I think at the moment, as you say, what we're trying to do is reach those people over 70 or people that are shielding. So it's probably is one of those situations where family members might see this video and they could either show the person the video or get in touch with us on their behalf, and we can take it from there. It's very difficult to reach people who aren't digitally connected these days because everything's so digital. So it might be like needle in a haystack, but we promise as always, we'll try our best. And please just get in touch with any questions, because we'd be delighted to hear from you. I've got an itchy throat. Excuse me. Now we've got town centre update. As I say, John's been on holiday, so there's not a huge amount to update, but let's go for it anyway. What's going on Dooney Street?
I'm just laughing because you've actually got your highlighter pen in. So, not a huge amount, but apart from I've been doing lots of shopping locally. It's been really good. I've actually had 10 days holiday so I could decorate my house, and I've bought pretty much everything locally. It's been really good. And dotting up and down the street and things like that, something I don't actually have a lot of time to do. So yeah, town centre work will start in earnest as of next week. Before I went on holiday, I sent out letters and emails to all of the town centre businesses that I could find. I've heard from lots of you. There are still a few who have not been back in touch. So kind of a bit of an appeal. If you are a town centre business, if you work for a town centre business, ask them if they've replied, basically. Because that'll help us, because we're going to be putting together this kind of business directory that will be a bit like our community magazine. And I've been doing some little bits of work on artwork and things like that. We've also got a Facebook group, which is called Love Thurso Local Business Organising Group. Is that right?
Love Thurso, yeah.
Okay, so it's called Love Thurso Local Business Organising Group, which is a kind of central point to get all the information about all the promotional work that's going to be ongoing. So we're hoping to, I'll basically be launching stuff by the middle of September. It won't take, there's a few threads to pull together, and yeah, then we'll be getting cracking it. So
cool.
That's where we are.
And now, last but by no means least, the announcement that we told you we were going to keep you waiting for. So depending on how long you've been following the trust and our activities and all sorts of things, at the end of last year, we discovered that we had been unsuccessful in securing probably the biggest pot of funding that we had gone for. We were really disappointed, but that's the way of the world. We knew there was always a chance that we needed plan B, maybe plan C, maybe even further, who knows. But we are delighted to let you guys know that we have been successful now in securing funding to continue our projects over the next couple of years. So I'll let Joan explain a little bit more about it. But yeah, this is really big news for us, and we are so pleased.
So let me work out how to explain this. So the funding that we went for last year was core funding support for us. So in my world, where I write lots of funding applications, there's a big difference between being able to secure project funding and having core funding. So when we talk about core funding, we mean for our core members of staff, for making sure we've got light bulbs, for making sure we've got stationery, all the very simple things. That's actually really difficult to get the money for. What it's quite easy, no, it's not easy, but it's less challenging to get project funding. So if we decide on a bright, shiny new project, with a funding application in the right way, with the right amounts of enthusiasm, with all the money ticked off that we know, and budgets and all that sort of stuff done, we generally have a pretty good chance of getting that. And there hasn't been much that we've gone for so far that we haven't got. But that core funding pot, it's like an elusive pot of money that's just really hard to get. And lots of other development trusts across Scotland, they've maybe started on the back of there's been a wind farm or some kind of development like that in their community, and they get that core funding from there. And we don't have that in Thurso. So core funding was always going to be a big issue for us. And last year we went for Scottish Government funding for core funding, and we didn't get it. And we were devastated. Me in particular, I'm not known for being hugely emotional, but I definitely cried, and I cried a lot because we didn't get it. And so we started thinking about plan B. And we had in mind, even when we applied for that Scottish Government funding, whenever we apply for funding, there's always a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. If it's something that we really want to do, we keep on with, we'll get to Z and then we'll start all over again from the beginning. A bit like an Excel spreadsheet when you scroll right along. Right, anyway, that's me being a geek. So we had as our plan B, the Robertson Trust, who are quite a large and significant funding body across Scotland. Their funding actually comes as a private kind of family trust, but they support a lot of community work across Scotland. And the Caithness and North Sutherland Fund, that was our plan B. So we did actually know about the Robertson Trust funding when, about 6-8 weeks ago,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But with funding, you always have to have a match funder for everything to work. It's like a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. So we discovered last week that we've been successful with the Caithness and North Sutherland funding, which means we now have 2 years of core funding support from both of those funders, and we have another year on top of that from the Robertson Trust. So we know that we have definitely got an organisation that can plan forward for the next 3 years. And given everything that we've managed to do in 2 years, we're pretty optimistic about the next 3 years, because that major bit of stress is out the way.
Yeah, so this is really a huge deal for us. And we've mentioned it countless times. We have our 5-year strategic plan that's available to read on our website. This funding basically allows us to continue implementing that. It's another step along the journey into the 5-year plan. And, it doesn't allow us to buy anything like the drill hall or anything like that. But as Joan says, this is the sort of bricks and mortar of our organisation. We can now go forward for the next 3 years without worrying about, can we continue employing our core staff? Can we afford to buy a packet of envelopes? All these things that need paid for, but it doesn't come out of nowhere. So this is a huge step for us, and we are so excited to. It's almost strange because nothing really will change. It's just an awful lot of stress will be removed from the organisation, and we can get on with doing the fun stuff like the projects we've promised over the next 5 years.
Yeah, and it means that, this funding in particular, our core funding support in particular, is so that we can find ways of combating social isolation as well. So we can start to put into effect all of those, now that we know that we don't have to find that core funding support, we can there's lots of little projects that we want to do that will combat social isolation, or projects that will actually support themselves. Like things like, there's no pensioners lunch club in Thurso, so we really want to have a pensioners lunch club, but actually that would support itself by people buying their lunch, but because we're constantly looking for that core funding support, we don't have the time and we don't have the capacity to put all of those little things together. Whereas now we can take that big deep breath, and it's like, we're secure now. That's what we've done. We've made ourselves secure, and we can start to put into effect all of these little projects that don't actually cost any money or very much money. And we can start looking at little pots of, because we've got the core funding support now, we've got somebody that's employed who does the funding applications. Well, means you're stuck with me, but for little bits of projects, we can always find little bits of projects, a little art project, a mural, and we can get people involved in doing that, various kind of cleanups. We can do all of those sort of things now.
So that is our big news. So big shout out to the Robertsons Trust and Caithness and North Sutherland Fund. You're our new best friends. And I think that's about it from us, is it?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
There's nothing else on the list?
No, real highlighted off.
Well, I think that's us for this week. We'll be back in another fortnight. We'll just kind of update you guys as and when we've got something to say. So I say another fortnight. I'm sure we'll come up with something to blather about. But yeah, until then, keep in touch with us. Let us know if you've any questions. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to see you on Sunday, the 6th of September. We will let you know the time. If you fancy any books, jigsaws, craft activities, sports activities, anything like that, we'll be down at Thurso Youth Club, and it would be great to see some people in real life. Oh my god. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.